Hello friends, in this video we are going to discover the top 10 cheapest countries to visit in Europe 2024. When we think of traveling in Europe, we often think of expensive vacations that you can only do once or twice a year, but like many regions in the world, if you look carefully enough, you will find that several countries within Europe are as beautiful as France or the Netherlands, some even more beautiful, but cost half of those countries. Every year, more and more people dream of taking trips to Europe. This continent has everything you need for a fantastic holiday, from its blue coastlines and sandy beaches to its winding mountain trails to its historical attractions that date back over 1,000 years. Let's look at less popular, yet no less impressive, budget-friendly European destinations that will surprise you with their prices, exchange rates, and beauty. Kindly make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon before we start this video about the 10 cheapest countries to visit in Europe. Now let's dig deeper into each of the top 10 cheapest countries to visit in Europe. Number 10. Albania. Albania remains one of Europe's best-kept secrets. In addition to plenty of historical sites, amazing nature, and great summer weather, Albania also offers a long coastline, known as the Albanian Riviera, of pristine beaches and turquoise waters without the sticker-shock prices of other European destinations. Even the more famous beach destinations, such as Durmi and Ksamil, see moderate international tourism and offer very affordable accommodations and restaurants all year long. To save even more, avoid the summer months if you're heading to the coast, and instead book your holiday for April, May, and early June, except for Easter week, when prices go up. It'll still be warm enough to enjoy the beach, but you'll enjoy special discounts and avoid the crowds. If you're coming over for hiking or exploring the cities on foot, late September and October are good options. While the winter months will offer bigger discounts for city stays, and yes, this includes the capital, Tirana, a great starting point for exploring the country, the mountains are too cold for casual outdoor adventures starting in November. Sit-down restaurants are very affordable in Albania, but cafes and casual eateries even more so. Local bakeries are another great option to save money, as you can pick up a number of local pastries, including the traditional spinach and cheese-filled bajrak, for pennies to carry as snacks for the day. Number 9. Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is not as affordable as it used to be, but if much of your travel is outside the capital city of Prague, you'll be able to find plenty of bargains. This is especially true during the colder months, except for the second half of December, as the weeks around Christmas time are prime tourist season. January and February are the cheapest months, with March through May also offering some great discounts on flights and accommodations. Many of Prague's main attractions are free but also part of many paid tours. Rather than paying to be taken there, it makes more sense to grab a map and explore them on your own. This includes walking on Charles Bridge, stopping by the astronomical clock, and walking the cobblestone streets of Old Town Square and its medieval buildings. Things get much cheaper at other major destinations around the country, including the fairytale town of Český Krumlov, the unusual town of Sedlec and its ossuary chapel, and the never-ending trails and mountains in Bohemian Switzerland National Park. Even during high season, the hotels at these destinations will be affordable if you book enough in advance. Number 8. Poland. Poland's main cities, Krakow and Warsaw, are not always cheap, so if they are your main destinations, avoid visiting in the summer. Shoulder season, especially the months of March and April, are ideal months to travel to urban Poland. The weather is warming up, the prices are still low, and the castles and palaces that were closed during the winter are opening up again, often at discounted prices. Poland's most famous destinations, including the Auschwitz-Birkenau camps, the Wieliczka salt mine, and Schindler's factory, are much less crowded in the off-season, so you won't waste time waiting in line. Many other attractions around the country are either very cheap or free to access, including climbing the Old Town Hall Tower for great views in Krakow, the 13th century castle of the Teutonic Order in Malbork, and the ancient Białowieża Forest. In the larger cities, museums often offer one free day a week. For example, the Royal Castle in Warsaw is free to enter on Wednesdays, while the Chopin Museum is free on Sundays. While trains aren't always very cheap in Poland, you can get almost anywhere via bus for very little money. Long-distance buses such as Flixbus are comfortable, offer free Wi-Fi, and will get you to even the tiniest towns in Poland. Number 7. Slovakia. As Slovakia's capital, Bratislava is definitely the most expensive destination in the country, but even here, you can keep your trip cheap by taking advantage of the many free things the city has to offer. In addition to many tiny galleries spread throughout the entire city, Bratislava is also home to lots of street sculptures, from bronze workmen coming out of sewer holes to life-size Napoleon soldiers leaning against benches. Despite being the capital, Bratislava is relatively small and can be easily explored on foot, as most of the attractions and top things to do are located around the old town center area. If you're headed outside the city, trains and buses are cheap and very comfortable. If you're looking for outdoor adventure, however, Slovakia offers plenty of things to do, and most of them are free. The High Tatras, Slovakia's tallest mountains and a massive national park, has hundreds of kilometers of hiking trails. Between June and October, the trails are perfect for hiking and exploring. In winter, many of them become great destinations for snowshoeing, as well as downhill and cross-country skiing. All national parks are free in Slovakia. Slovakia is also home to many UNESCO World Heritage Sites, castles, memorials, and monuments, all free or very cheap to discover. Number 6. Hungary. Hungary is one of the most expensive countries in Eastern Europe, but still a fraction of the cost of traveling to major destinations in the western half of the continent. Hungary's capital, Budapest, is home to a long list of free attractions, including walking on the chain bridge across the Danube and exploring the Castle Hill area. Although some of the attractions in the castle area, which includes the Buda Castle and the underground castle labyrinth, aren't free to visit, they're still very affordable. In the month of June, the city sponsors a Night of the Museums, where you can visit many landmarks around Budapest for free. The Neo-Gothic Great Market Hall, Budapest's oldest indoor market, is a great place to search for budget souvenirs and cheap snacks, including many traditional Hungarian foods. Street food is another great way to save money when visiting. The country's favorite fast food is langos, a sort of deep-fried pizza topped with cheese, tomato sauce, or sour cream. Outside the capital, things get considerably cheaper. Visitors to the lake resort town of Tihany and those heading to Buck Mountains for outdoor adventure will find that prices are even lower there all year long. Number 5. Slovenia. A tiny country surrounded by giants, Italy, Austria, and Hungary are against its borders. Slovenia is a mountainous country covered in forest. Still, most visitors arrive here for the shoreline. Sitting against the Adriatic Sea, Slovenia offers plenty of affordable sandy beaches and lots of sun. While the summer season means more expensive accommodations along the coast, the beaches are all public and free, so it's possible to keep the costs to a minimum even during the high season. Koper Beach and nearby Mesna Beach, Moon Bay, and the famous seaside resort of Portugal are all very affordable in late spring when temperatures are already summery, but the tourists haven't arrived yet. Away from the coast, Lake Bled is perhaps the best-known destination. Located just 35 kilometers from the capital city, Ljubljana, the lake is an affordable destination and one of the most stunning sights in the country. Other budget destinations include the medieval town Piran, the fortified village of Stanjel, and Triglav National Park, where you can hike to the top of Mount Triglav in 2 days with an overnight at a mountain hut. Number 4. Portugal. Portugal's most attractive destinations are all about nature, sun, and the outdoors, meaning they're mostly free. The Faro district in the south of the country is a popular destination for its soft golden sands, cliffs, and lighthouses, while visitors to Madeira head there for the rugged volcanic hiking trails, the beautiful harbor, and the great scuba diving. The biggest expenses on a trip to Portugal will be food and accommodations, though visiting outside peak season, June to August, will reduce costs considerably. From November to February, prices drop even more, but the temperatures remain around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, so it's the perfect time to visit to score great bargains. Some of Portugal's most interesting destinations are free to explore, aside from the cost of the transportation to get you there. These include the ancient town of Évora, a World Heritage Site, and the 12th century Templar Castle and Convent of Christ in the town of Tomar. Number 3. Montenegro. Montenegro is one of Europe's newest countries. It regained independence in 2006, and while it's rising in popularity as a tourist destination, today many North Americans still have a tough time finding it on a map. Its rising tourist destination status means many things for travelers: fewer crowds and, of course, lower prices. The country has a little bit of everything to offer travelers: beautiful beaches, UNESCO medieval towns, national parks, lakes, mountains, and more, all for a fraction of the price of other more well-traveled European destinations. Visitors to Montenegro can expect cheap food, particularly if you stick to the local fare, like meat-stuffed burek, homemade cheese and cured meats, and seafood. Of course, you can find a lot of Italian cuisine in Montenegro, too, like pizza, pasta, and salads, which are also very inexpensive. Grocery stores are cheap, as well, so if you book a place with a kitchen, you can stock up and cook your own meals. One thing to note is that July and August are the busiest months in Montenegro. You'll find a high volume of tourists, particularly along the coastal areas here, like the hip beach city Budva or Herceg Novi on the Bay of Kotor. Number 2. Romania. Romania is one of the cheapest destinations in Europe, especially if you're heading to the Carpathian Mountains for some hiking or mainly focused on exploring the countryside. Even a visit to Brașov, home to Dracula's 14th century Bran Castle, can be very affordable if you book a sightseeing day tour or don't mind slow train connections out of Bucharest. Trains aren't always in the best condition in Romania, but they are safe and very cheap. Some of the most beautiful structures in Bucharest, including the 15th century Old Town, Revolution Square, and Romania's own Arch of Triumph, are either free or very cheap to visit. In warmer weather, renting a bike can be a great way to explore smaller cities, or you can join one of the many free walking tours that depart from the center of town. In most cases, it doesn't pay to shop at supermarkets here, as eating out is cheap in Romania, and the meals are hearty and filling. Local specialties such as sarmale, cabbage rolls, cozonac, sweetbread, or mamaliga, polenta, usually served with sour cream and strong cheese, are cheap, often sold at street food stalls, and a great way to get a quick intro to Romanian food. Number 1. Bulgaria. Bulgaria often tops the list of inexpensive countries to visit in Europe, and with good reason. For starters, Bulgaria remains largely undiscovered by tourists except for the visitors that come over in summer for a cheap vacation alongside the Black Sea. Even then, accommodations, flights, and entertainment will still cost you a fraction of what you would pay in Western Europe. In the off-season, prices drop considerably, and you can ski, eat, and travel around the country for a tenth of what it costs in the West. One of the best parts of visiting Bulgaria is the countryside, where castles, villages, and hiking trails, the Central Balkan National Park tops the list for great hikes and breathtaking views, are either free or very cheap to visit. While Sofia is the first stop for many visitors, smaller cities such as Plovdiv, home to over 200 archaeological sites, are even cheaper to explore. Hotels in Bulgaria are particularly cheap outside of the summer months, and many include not only free breakfast but also free shuttles. So, which is your favorite countries among the top 10 cheapest countries to visit in Europe? Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, click the subscribe button so you can receive more content like this. Post your favorite places among the top 10 cheapest countries to visit in Europe in the comments below. I'd love to read them and I'm sure others would too.